popularity of the opposition? Was that a factor? Second one is actually in response to the point that you made, which is that you cast it as UMNO giving up goodies, rice and 500 ringgit, whereas the opposition were sort of giving out ideas. It is true that actually Anwar had 10 points that he promised. He had a whole bunch of promises as well. So, your comments on that. And then the third point is on the question of fraud. What's your view on fraud? Electoral fraud. Whether there was indeed electoral fraud? Will this, if I can just add to the point, will this issue of and will what Anwar alleges catch fire? Will it become, a movement, or will it just fizzle out and die? Anybody wants to take any of those three? Maybe fraud first. How's that? Yeah.
I'll take the 2 and 3. Yeah?
Take 2 and 3. Okay.
I'm not giving up goodies. I'm not giving present goodies. Right now, the bags right now.
Yeah, so it's got different time frame of goodies.
The
Anwar's goodies was if I win.
If I win.
Yeah. So like giving you rice and both parties can manifesto that are very similar. All kind of
No. Pakistan put up its thing after manifesto, after seeing the Pakatan.
It's very similar. All kinds of.
So the fraud. Tan Sri Raman Navaratnam is a very respected, I don't know if was a respected or is a respected member of the establishment, a top civil servant, this, that, and all. Then he became chief of Transparency International. His team has come out with a presentation that there were instances of fraud. So if somebody who was very close to the establishment now thinks, can we have to take that as a view, not colored one way or the other. So I think I would answer your question by referring to this report that Raman Navaratnam has brought out.
But can I follow up and ask you, what do you think will happen with those findings? Do you think it will become an issue?
Which one?
The fraud, all these instances of fraud.
No, you have, there is no going back. There is no going back. It will be going forward, and people are not going to stand for large-scale fraud, large-scale or small-scale, because people have become conscious because of, let's say, this, that, and all that. I think there's no going back.
Anybody else? On fraud first?
On fraud, I don't speak in public.
Yeah, okay, so whatever you want to say.
It is fraud. So, about the Malay anti-tsunami, if you want to call it that, that's possible because if you remember in the 2008 elections, a lot of UMNO people, UMNO members, voted against Abdullah Badawi. They didn't vote for Pakatan, but they voted against Abdullah Badawi. So if they were to see this 70,000 in Penang or 100,000 in Johor, I think they got a bit worried and they did come back. UMNO has 3 million members registered, I don't know whether are true or phantoms, but enough, if that 5 points of those who voted against Badawi, they came back after seeing this so-called Chinese tsunami. On the UMNO goodies, let me read to you what I have. Because just before, on November 4th, about midnight, I was in Kedah, the so-called Padang, in front of the big mosque. People were driving, hundreds of boys and girls driving around in motorcycles and waving flags, and they were all shouting, "Vote Pakatan, tomorrow fuel price go down." The shout was all the same. Undi pas, they were saying pas because in Kedah. Undi pas, besok minyak turun. They didn't say anything else about corporate governance or whatever.
Ubah.
Yeah, no Ubah also. So yeah, so that was one of the. Anwar said within 24 hours they will cut. They will remove highway toll prices, again very unpopular even in the north. Free or lower water bills, free university education, lower car prices, lower electricity. Najib promises a second BRIM, I think 1,000, double what the previous one, and then he wants to lower car prices also, and then the other thing. So this is when Malaysia has gone through the 16th year of budget deficit, 1616. So I was there already in the first one, 1997-98, when they had to do this, and still until now. About the Royal Commission of Inquiry, I don't think it's in Najib's interest to say let's have a Royal Commission of Inquiry. It will look weak, you know. You give credence to the other side saying this, right? And then Malaysia's history of Royal Commission of Inquiry, you will only support, your side will support the findings if it supports your view. So,
or it take a long time to have the findings.
Yeah, for this case, until 1970.
Just very quickly on fraud, if I put myself in Najib's position, which I'm of course very grateful I'm not, nobody wants to be in this position now. On the one hand, you're right that it would take a further toll on his popularity if he does not deal with these allegations. And RCI is a possibility. But then on the other hand, if I were Najib, and RCI, I don't think Najib gave instruction from the top, assuming that there was fraud. I don't think it was instruction from the top and orchestrated from the top. It was probably down at the division and lower levels. Now, the problem is if you have an RCI, you risk uncovering a lot of things from the divisions, from the people whom you are going to need to support you at your time of weakness within the party. That's why my view is that for Najib, now foremost is to make sure that his position is not undermined, and everything else falls into place after that. So if I were Najib, you know, between the devil and the deep blue sea, what I would do is I would make noises about the need to sort of take electoral fraud seriously, but I will stall and try to outlast the Pakatan. You've got 5 years. You've got 5 years to undermine and to do whatever you can, assuming that he remains as the leader. We didn't talk about how strong the Pakatan is and will be after the election, because there will be weaknesses past his commitment to the Pakatan. So I think if I were Najib, the strategy would be try to ensure my own survival and outlast the Pakatan on these issues, and hope for the best.
Ravi, can you say something?
On fraud? Well, we are about 18 of us on the ground in Malaysia. On election day itself, I don't think we were voters to any instance. None of my colleagues mentioned anything about election day. But if you ask me, is the election system fair? I don't think it's fair. Unless the election commission has real teeth, there are strong principles on which elections are to be conducted, code of conduct, for instance. Don't think we can ever really have a fair election without a strong election commission. Right now, for instance, the EC doesn't have the powers to investigate. Yeah, always the answer is that that's for the police, that's for the anti-corruption agency. But the day that Malaysia gets a very strong EC, I think it's be good for Malaysian democracy.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't know.